Every person on my team tracks time, metrics, habits. They all have priorities. Every client of mine tracks metrics and habits. I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. There's not a single client or team member that I have that doesn't track metrics and habits.
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Alan Lazaros with us today, and I'm looking forward to this conversation because, man, we are diving into business. We're going to talk about scale, growth, all the cool things. But before we even get into that, Alan, the tradition at STS is no one knows Alan better than Alan. So, Alan, give us that backstory, bring us up to speed, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Well, I think first of all, thank you for having me. Absolutely. I do not take that lightly. And anyone watching or listening, First Century is noisy. I won't waste a second of your time, and I'll try to give you everything I've got of value. So I look very young. I start with that. I'm hoping to hit puberty at 37. No, so I'm 36 years old, but I look very young. And I just want to make a couple things clear out of the gate here to set the stage. When I introduce myself, so I'm the CEO of what's known as Next Level University. We have a podcast with 2,074 episodes as of yesterday. We have an 18-person team, and we work with 106, I'm big on metrics, 106 podcasters and business owners at this stage. My primary focus at this point is similar to yours. I do business coaching with young entrepreneurs. Some are older, but for the most part, people that are in the first sort of 5 to 10 years of entrepreneurship, and they're just absolutely struggling. So you and I are two peas in a pod in that. But that's not where I started. So one of the biggest challenges that I have these days, which is surprising, is that I look from the outside in like someone who started on third base. Born and raised in Massachusetts, the U.S. is the largest economy in the world, and I'm very well educated. Bachelor's in computer engineering, master's in business. So I look like someone who had it easy. But I love the sharpen the spear thing, the warrior mindset that you and I talked about off air, because quite frankly, I couldn't even see the ballpark when I was born. So I'll go quick with it, but birth father died when I was 2. Stepfather from 3 to 14 left my entire family with his entire extended family. Haven't seen or spoken to a single one since 14. Same year, my mom got ostracized. She got in a fight with my Aunt Sandy. My Aunt Sandy sort of ostracized us from her side of the family. So by the time I was 14 years old, I kind of lost 3 families because my birth father's side, my real last name is actually McCorkle, my birth last name. And we've since reconnected with them. But ultimately, just the childhood had some bright spots. We had some fun, but ultimately it was a lot of challenge. And I had 2 trauma responses to that. One of them was I became sort of a social coward and a chameleon who tried to fit in. Don't get abandoned, don't get abandoned, don't get abandoned. Number 2 behind the scenes was aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Aim higher, work harder, get smarter. Because when my stepdad was around, he made a lot of money in the 90s, went the dot-com bubble in Massachusetts, worked for a company called AGFA, and they did hospital computers. So we did very well. Boats and ski trips. We had a yacht. The 90s were wild. I know you remember. And during the dot-com bubble. So I went from I hope I get into my dream college, WPI. I want to be an engineer, Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's kind of like a mini MIT. To even if I get in, I'm not going to be able to afford it. It's $50,000 a year, and this is back then. So I just bootstrapped my way through high school, straight A's, all the scholarships and financial aid that I could possibly get. And I did the traditional path. I did the preschool, kindergarten, middle school, high school, college, corporate, brought my high school friends to college friends to corporate. And I was a 1% global earner in my early 20s. And then I got in my car accident. And that's when I started my business. Little company called Alan Lazaros, LLC, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. I wanted to bring personal development to the school system. That was a terrible idea. Here I am 10 years later, and now we have a very successful podcast. For a company, I always joke. I say, as a company, we're small. Amazon makes more in a day than we do all year. But for a podcast, we are very, very, very successful. So I'm grateful to have an 18-person team and to be heard in 175 countries and to coach more than 20 individuals at this stage. It's been good.
That's awesome. Great story. Hey, Alan, it's, any business, and people, I think a lot of people get Well, let's say the people who don't do business, okay, they got a very different view on what it takes, what it is, whether that's from startup to, mid-level success to really hitting it out of the park, that kind of thing. And of course, that's all relative as well. Just you described, a day in Amazon is a lifetime for others. So it's just, we got to keep things relative, but there's really something we always remind them, but just all business, all work is hard. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is. Podcasting. I've had another podcast guy on there. He told me he's 35. Podcasting is his thing. And he says, I'm married, but we don't have children because I'm a podcaster. And that's how hard it is for me to make this work. He really committed to making this work. And I think I'm glad he shared that too, because some people just think it's like you get on this microphone, you're talking, and they don't get it. And this is coming from me. I podcast on a couple of them, been on hundreds, done it's an animal most people don't understand. Okay. It's just, they see like this. I don't know. You could probably describe it better, but it's kind of like watching a TV show. That's amazing, but they don't get the whole process. The overnight success only takes 10 years.
Yeah. It takes more than 10 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Podcasting, when I say 2,074 episodes, the average length of the episodes for Next Level University is over 25 minutes. So when you say 2,074 episodes to a podcaster, they go, whoa, that's really something. 8 years straight without a single miss. And we do one every day now. But when you say that to a non-podcaster, they go, okay, cool. Like they don't even know what that means. They don't have context, right? It's like if you've never deadlifted before, you don't know what a 600-pound deadlift is. But if you have deadlifted, you know what that means. And that's one of those things that's tough about podcasting is there's no direct competition and there's no scoreboard. So it's hard to know who is actually winning and who's not. And unfortunately, if you look as young as I do, you need some credibility, which is why I have all my awards in the background, right? But ultimately, it's all relative to your point, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And I think people, what we always try to get across to anyone working, because, a lot of my listeners, these guys are out there, they're putting in the work every day. A lot of these guys have started as that craftsman, as that skill set, that technician. They start a business and they start working and they're doing the business. They're making more money, but they're still doing it, right? Yeah. It gets really hard to depart. And I did this for 20 years. I'm the artist. I'm building this stuff. I got a team. They're building, but I'm there, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't believe in vacations, any of that kind of stuff, right? I'm there working. I love this stuff. I love it. I want to do it. But you realize eventually you're on this golden hamster wheel.
Yeah. Of your own making.
Exactly. And it's what I call the owner prison, right? We're our own jailer. We put us in there. We don't really know how to make those gains where we can start to separate ourselves to work on what truly matters in the business that's really going to propel it forward. So did you have experience in that kind of stuff? Is that what you guys are going through?
I'm still in it. I'm still in that. So I'm 36 and these are the build years. And so I don't pretend to be on any mountaintop by any means, but I had a 24. So I'll share this. I think this will provide context. So from 2019 to 2020 to the end of 2023, we had an average of 119% year over year growth in top line revenue. So we kind of lost our minds a little bit. It was buy it, do it, run it, overextend, right? Team. We had a 24-person team. We had a charity. We had 24 departments. We lost it. And I went to Kev. So in 2023, we only grew by 18%. And in 2024, we only grew by 11%. So we were in some trouble. And I came to Kev, my business partner. We're 50-50 business partners. And again, it's not necessarily 50-50, but we think of it that way. And I'm CEO, he's chief sales officer, but we started it together. And I said, brother, we're going to go out of business. Like we overextended, man. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, we have to sit down and have a conversation. I said, we have 24 departments. I need you and I to sit down and talk about what are the departments we will go out of business without. Of the 24, we only came up with 8. And then we refocused and I really believe this to be true. When you start winning, you lose your humility. You lose focus. I mean, he bought a Beamer. I got a new house. I mean, we just lost our minds. What color does it come in, right? And I think that's a newbie mistake. The moment you lose humility, we had a $70,000 a month, which again was big for us. And when you go from broke the first few years to a $70,000 a month, you just lose your humility. You do. And I actually think, all things considered, we kept our humility pretty well. We still lost it. So to me, focus on the things that really matter. You mentioned the 5%. Kevin and I had to refocus on the things that really make money, and the things that are not just make money, but aligned with our long-term vision and our core values and what the core business is. I mean, we had an app, we lost it. I mean, we invested in an app, all kinds of stuff. And we're still going to do a lot of that, but I tried to build a 24 department company. I tried to build a company that I'm still going to do it, but it's going to be 10, 20, 30 years to implement all 24 of those departments and to do it well. Here's what I'm saying. Just make sure the foundation and the base of the pyramid is set up really well. And I love a pyramid as a metaphor because the base has to be wider in order to climb higher. And sometimes when you climb higher and you reach a new level, pun intended, next level university, you let the foundation start to erode. And I think that that's something that a lot of people deal with. And so now I try really hard to focus on only my true few. We call it a P3 target. Mine is coaching, training, and podcasting. Kevin's is NLPS, NLU, and PGU. PGU is Podcast Growth University, which is a different podcast for podcasters. But we really only focus on the fundamentals now, and we try really hard not to lose sight of what got us here.
Yeah, that's great. I suffered the same thing in a way, though I never wanted a boat. I didn't want a crazy. All I wanted was more equipment. I want a shiny new skid steer. I want a truck. I want stuff like I was into that, and I pay cash for everything, which was a huge mistake because I had cash, and isn't it the right thing to do? I would always tell people, hey, it's only $55,000. I'll just buy the skid steer. Now I own it. That's smart. Ask Dave Ramsey. He'll tell you. And
Dave Ramsey.
Funny. and then instead of sitting there going, I could have rented that for about $4,500 for the entire season and invested like $50,000, making me money. Yep. Instead, I got to look at this, sit around for 6 months. Oh, wait, I can use it on my driveway for the snow once in a while. I'm killing it. But yeah, so it was, I did a lot of stupid things like that too, because I could command my price. I get another job. I ask my wife, well, what do you need? I'll go out and make that tomorrow. And I'll just go make more money. And I was in the whole just make more money cycle, which is really great. It really works until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Until 08 comes and 09 comes and no one wants to give anybody anything, for anything. And you just go, it's over.
Yeah. Now you have a $55,000 piece of equipment that's worth $3,000.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got a little more than that, but it wasn't much. And it was pretty new. You're getting 30 cents on the dollar. Yeah. You're right. It's really, but again, to your point, I think it's a curse of success. Early success, I should say. You hit the ground running, you're full of energy. I call it ignorance on fire. And you're just, man, we're just going, right? And you're going to, it's the broken clock syndrome, right? You're going to be right once in a while. Just keep running hard. Okay. Like twice a day, you're going to hit it. So it's good, but you don't realize like that's all going to catch up to you. Yeah, eventually the fire goes out. You're tired, you stop, drop, and roll, and you realize, what have I done? Okay. And then that's that reality. But the key here for you, Alan, what I see is the recognition. This is what happened. Let's fix it. This is what most people don't do. Mm-hmm. Okay. They don't stop and go, what do we actually need to stay in business? Yeah. Instead of what can we keep? There's a difference. Yeah. Because you'll pick your pet favorites and you'll still go out of business, right? You got to, like you said, you're in the metrics, which I love. I love hearing real numbers.
Oh, nice.
76 of this. When people tell me their like sales close rate, oh, I'm about 40%. I go, about?
Yeah.
What specifically numbers about? Yeah. So we look at it. Oh no,
plus
you're
or minus 100%.
Yeah, error. You're 29.4%. Okay, that's what your close rate is, not nice. 40. Okay, or my favorite when they tell me it's 90%. I go, what do you do? Like 3 bids a year? How do you 90%? Like, come work for me. So yeah, that's right. Yes, with an assist, but it's just good to hear it. I want people. That's why I want to share this story too. I mean, I don't love what you had to go through, but I like where you're at now because of it. Okay. Like this is what matters. I have that, it's kind of that warrior thing. It's, if you can take a breath, you're in the fight. Okay. That's just where it's at. Right. So most people can win. Most people don't have trouble. They're pretty good when they win, but can they lose and come back tomorrow and play?
Yeah.
Right. That's champion mentality, right? So it's making those adjustments, moving that forward, really understanding your niche, who you're truly serving, right? A lot of these little things that don't really matter in the beginning, even though they should, because people just go. Like I said, a lot of my listeners, we have a skill and we can make money. And basically what we're doing is keeping all the money instead of sharing it with the previous owner, right? You work for someone, you get some of the money, but they keep it. So in your mind, you're going, well, if I did this, I get all the money. Well, this will be easy, right? And that's the beginning of the cliff. Okay.
Or the people who think that I'm going to start my own business. People literally say this to me, and this is why the personal development space is so hard. Because I went from pretty hardcore tech companies in corporate to the fluffy, feel good sort of personal development space, especially during COVID of the 4-hour work week nonsense. And I realized very quickly that people would say, "Well, I want to start my own company because I want more free time." Listen. No. In maybe not for the first decade, but again, it depends on the business. It depends on the industry, but you do learn over time that the two things that matter most, in my opinion, is number one, self-belief, the undying belief that everything's figure outable. You can do this. You stay in the fight, warrior mentality. The second one is humility, which is, yeah, you're going to stay in the fight, but you better be smart and you better look around and you better pop your head out of the sand every now and then and take a look at the forest instead of just climbing trees. And I think that in the metrics piece, that it takes humility. I was on an entrepreneurial panel 3 weeks ago. 2 multimillionaire, super successful entrepreneurs, my alma mater, were in front of 50 engineers, their sort of third or second exposure to business. So there's a lot. They're talking about passion and purpose and all this kind of stuff. And I appreciate it. I get it. But I stopped them and I said, guys, can I just ask for a second? You know, you're both very successful. One of them owned a bunch of sky zones. The other one did tech companies and radars for boats and patents and all this stuff. And I said, how many times have you guys failed? And they both laughed. One of them said 6. One of them said 8. And I said, one more question too. Let's give them the real goods. I said, how many spreadsheets do you each have? And one of them literally laughed and said, Alan, I've got 8 open on my computer right now. I said, that's how you win in business. Metrics. I track habits and metrics every day. Every person on my team tracks time, metrics, habits. They all have priorities. Every client of mine tracks metrics and habits. I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. There's not a single client or team member that I have that doesn't track metrics and habits. And every department has metrics and habits. And to me, the numbers are what keep you on track versus just spraying and praying and hoping it all works out.
Yeah, it's one word. It's accountability. Spreadsheet metrics, man, are accountability. You can't get around it. You know, it's right there in front of you. It's really, really important. Yeah, I do similar to that because I find that so many times when I'm working with people, you're trying to especially you got to come in and fix something. So I'm coming in to try to increase profitability in a business or whatever, but there's nothing to look at. Okay. Just like, well, where's your number? They don't know what a P&L is. They don't know how to read it. Yeah. And it's actually very simple, right? So they're not looking at these numbers. Even not mine, but this accountant here, he talks, well, we review their P&L every quarter or once a month. I'm like, oh, well, we do it weekly.
Nice.
Like we will look at it every week. I mean, that's what I have them do. You can do whatever you want, but we do it weekly.
I write down how much money my company made. My girlfriend and I, we have a whiteboard in the center of our house. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We every single day, the first thing we do when we get downstairs is we write down the number the revenue. There's 3 things we both track every day. Number 1 is revenue. Number 2 is calories. And number 3 is our weight.
And then you say, no matter what house we build, we're going to have a massive whiteboard in the home.
You know it.
You're setting the standard. I like that.
Center of our home.
That is what's important. There it is.
That's her. Beautiful. That's her, not me.
Now, is it a whiteboard or is it like the cool glass and you're writing on the glass and stuff? Okay.
It's glass.
See,
yeah.
I
but
know
it's
you.
also white.
I know you.
It's a white glass. You do.
Yeah,
it's her idea, man.
I love it.
I give it to her. She said the center of our home. That whiteboard has made us more money. Best investment we've ever made.
So I'm a big fan.
Nice.
I don't get to have one in my living room though. I have 6 kids and but it's okay.
They're all drawing on it.
That's why I don't work from home. I tell well, I can't work from home then, going to the office. I don't have whiteboard, but no, I love it. Yeah, it's so critical for business and it's hard again. And I'm not, so again, I work with my hands, right? I build things. I'm a steel sculptor. I do stuff with boulders and water features. I did all this for 20 years. Numbers, spreadsheets. Like I only talk in tonnage. Okay? I'm getting 24 tons a time of boulders. So how many tons am I, I didn't have my whole first 20 years, Alan, was like business. I just made money. That was business to me. Build beautiful things that no one else could build and get paid a lot of money for it. That's my model. I did that.
And you're missing a serious component there.
That's right. So that was my model.
First two steps really well.
That's right. So and I'm very transparent about this. And then, like I said, it's really great till everything collapses. But at the same time, I'm out there. We talked about the humility, which is critical. So what I started doing now, just recently, is I started getting these really nice, like handmade boxes with the hinge and it closes, got a little latch. But when I get a new client, it comes with a little brass tag on the front, says my ego, because you got to lock that sucker up. I was so ego driven. I was about the next great thing. Please pat me on the back a little more, right? I will do what no one else can do. And I kept doing that.
Yeah.
Right. And when your ego runs the business,
business,
you make all the dumb decisions.
100%.
I mean, you're guaranteed to be the champion of bad decision making.
100%.
Okay.
I'm grateful you're being so honest about it. I love it.
It is brutal.
And a lot of times the high belief that you had in your own abilities, that starts the engine, and that's great. And that drives the engine, but it also drives you out of business. So like I said, if you lose your humility, you're going to go out of business eventually. Period.
Yeah, because there's a snowball effect to it too, Alan. You can test. It's not just money. It's not the business. It's how you treat people, right? Again, I'm not who I was. They're very inconsequential. When you're a builder, okay, you're making things and you're growing and all that kind of stuff. Like people are just obstacles, or they're tools you step on and move. And it's easy to get rid of people, move this person out here, put this person in there because it's all about an outcome, and I look back at a lot of that period of my life. Like, man, I tell my kids, like, listen, you need to be who I am, not who I was. Like, I make a real distinction, like him, and this because I hear all the story. Like, I'm not who I was. Like, I did great things, and I was in every magazine and TV and all the cool stuff, but none of that matters.
Yeah,
because
of
I did it. So it's just one of those cautionary tales.
What happened what pivoted that for you? Was it 08 and just everything?
Yeah,
collapsed,
08. Yeah, everything collapsed. I lost.
Got all the humility
0
at once.
Yeah, it's just big old slap. But I also realized, Alan, that my identity had become what I do.
Yeah.
And that was the real flip.
Yeah.
I mean, I have video of me like burning all my uniforms. I haven't built a water feature or done a sculpture in like 16 years.
Whoa.
Because I'm like, it owned me. It was who I was. It was just, people are still upset that I quit. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I didn't quit. It kind of quit on me, kind of when it's over, it's over. But then I had the choice. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to move and relocate. And you begin again. Don't know what I was going to do, but you figure it out. But yeah, it's just those things I share with people because too many of us are in that, listen, you meet another dude. Hey man, what do you do? That's identity, right? It's the first question we ask someone.
I'm a coach, I'm a podcaster, and I'm a trainer.
Yep, I'm a ditch digger. I started out as a ditch digger coming out of the Marine Corps, swinging a pickaxe all day, so hey, we're all that, so yeah, it really is that thing.
Well, when the goals become more important than who you are, and I always say it's who you are and what you are when no one's watching, that's going to matter most. But for me, it was my car accident because I had ego a lot before that. And my humble pie was 26. I call it my quarter life crisis. And I quit drinking after that. I quit partying. I became a meaningful specific instead of everything for everyone because I brought my high school friends to college. I brought my college friends to corporate. They had a referral program at the company I was working at called Cognex. They do machine vision equipment. And I lost myself. I was everything for everyone. And I was clear on my goals and I was clear on my vision and I was clear on the future. I've always been future oriented. I've always been an achiever, but I wasn't clear on my core values and I wasn't as clear on who I want to be as a man. And after I got clarity on that, everything else became secondary. And then luckily over time, success came as a byproduct, but it took a while because I went broke. I mean, when all you care about is achievement, you achieve a lot, but you lose yourself along the way if you're not careful. And I think that's the self-awareness and the humility and the inner work I have a therapist now. Like, work harder on yourself than you do anything else. That's what I say to my old self. That's what I would say to anybody out there listening. Work harder on yourself than you do on anything else, and everything else will improve as you improve. And that doesn't mean you're going to be, necessarily a billionaire. That's a different conversation, but you'll definitely be more fulfilled for sure.
Yeah, I think what I didn't understand was that achievement. I was about the achievement. Do the next thing for the next thing, right? So there was no long-term planning. I wasn't doing something for this down the road. I was thinking about getting this done so I can do another great thing. And I use this comparison. My son and I were able to be on a podcast together being interviewed. He's in the Marine Corps now and stuff when he was home in January. And they're asking about his life. And, he was kind of the star of the show. I was just sitting around throwing in something here and there. But everything he's saying is 20 years old. They asked him, like, well, why do you do this? Why? He goes, well, I want to be able to protect my family both with my hands and a weapon. So I'm like, oh. And then he's talking about the discipline. Why'd you go through this? Why didn't you quit? He says, well, that's not who I am. And I'm going to do this and do this. So everything. Nice. And I realized, I go, listen, I said, so around the pie, like, I'll tell you. And I told him that you are light years ahead of me at 20 years old. Where I was, okay? Yeah. Because I did everything for the thing. I was not thinking about he's planning. He's nice. Very strategic.
Conscientious.
Delayed gratification.
Nice.
He gets that concept.
Yeah, same.
Okay, and that's unusual.
Yes, it is. Especially for Gen Z. Is he Gen Z as well? Yeah,
he's 20.
Early 20s? Yeah,
Gen Z, right? Yeah.
Conscientiousness is a fancy term for organized, disciplined, structured, long-term strategic thinking. The chess player, the making the moves. It's an infinite game. It's finite games within an infinite game, right? A finite game is one chess match, which is what you were playing. And an infinite game is I want to be the best chess master I can be. So if I lose a couple games, it's okay as long as I get better as a person. And I think your son's got a good foundation. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's great for him. As a dad, you go, good, I don't have to worry about this guy. Other kids, I have 5 other children, okay, and some are you have to be a little more worried than others, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
Circle of concern, a little more concerned,
I'm just going to call them late bloomers like I was. They're just late bloomers.
They're just late bloomers.
It's coming. It's coming. They just haven't had enough rain yet, okay? I don't know, something, but yeah, it's kind of fun. But yeah, it really is. I think in business too, when you've got the strategic thinking is a big thing we do now, right? We think about it. We do strategic vision. We try to look out forward. Where are we going as a company? Mm-hmm. How does everyone fit into that path and everything else? I think that's to me, it's a level of maturity. Nice. Okay. When you're able to think that way, because again, you get that hard drive. I mean, I'm a Marine. I'm going to dip my shoulder. I never asked for help. No, and I had billionaire clients trying to help me. That's the level of stupid I operated at, Alan. Okay, they're giving me like straight up, they just like me. I built beautiful things for them. They just like, don't you think you should? I'm like, what do you know, man? You don't build water features. You just own professional sports teams and manufacturing plant stuff. How can you help me?
They know something. They know something.
Well, dude, that's what I'm saying. The level of stupid was almost unfathomable. Okay. It's just, I look back and I'm able to laugh because I'm like still alive.
There's only 1,200, maybe 1,500 now self-made billionaires. And if you had any of those in your corner, you might want to listen up at least a little, right?
Yeah. Right. So are you getting the picture here?
Yeah.
The level of just idiocy that I operated at. I mean, it's just, and I don't know, dude, I love it. I mean, I love it. Best thing ever happened was losing everything. I'm kind of like you had the car accident, all that, but you get that epiphany, you kind of realize that, and then things shift, and wow, you look back. Yeah, but you look back and go, that was amazing.
Yeah, pivotal.
That happened. It's pivotal. Just, and then a lot of us have those moments. I think a lot of us don't really, some people don't pinpoint it. Some people don't like, okay, that's where it happened. I mean, I don't obsess on it, but I know it was there, and I'm sure glad whatever that redirection happened was good. So, big shift. Was that a struggle for you?
Real quick, do you mind, hold space for a sec? Do you mind if I just go to the bathroom real fast? Yeah?
Go ahead.
Is that okay? Yeah? Awesome. Thank you so much. Just one sec. I'm going to be useless.
So, Alan, what was, the car accident, okay? Let's start at that, when you kind of reset and started changing your view. Was that a difficult thing to do? Did you do it like kind of instantly, like, hey, I'm flipping, I know where I'm going to go now, this makes sense? Or did you kind of took some time, you started seeing things started getting clear, you started working through it, figuring out where you're going to go? What'd that look like for you?
Yeah, I think it's both simultaneously. I think about duality a lot. Duality is holding two seemingly opposing ideas in your consciousness simultaneously. So to answer your question, it was a long, continuous improvement process. I used to say hashtag CANI, CANI, commitment to constant and never-ending improvement. I found 10 years ago, after my car accident, that was the humility, the humble pie, the mortality moment. My dad died in a car when he was 28. I was 26 at the time, and I had the 1% global earner. I had $150,000 in a Vanguard account, all tech companies. I paid off $84,000 worth of college debt. I was debt-free. I just did very well for myself, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I was an achiever for sure, obviously. And I knew that I wanted to start over. I knew that I wanted to reinvent myself. And I knew that some people have a job, some people have a career, some people have a calling. That's a Jeff Bezos quote. And I found my calling at 26. And my calling it's written right over here. It's never changed since 10 years ago, to reach my own unique potential and help others do the same. Everything else is secondary. I just wanted to help people reach their potential, because the regret that I had after that car accident was I'm not reaching my potential. I'm not taking care of myself. I drink too much and too often. And I am successful, and I've achieved everything that I thought I wanted after my stepdad left. And I can certainly take care of my family now. I make way more money than I need for the first time in my basically adult life. And I didn't need much because I was broke in high school and college. I had $500 for rent. I lived on a lake with my girlfriend Courtney at the time. I bought a $5,000 2004 Volkswagen Passat. Like, I didn't need nice things really. So for me, it was just bank all the money, invest it all. I might as well get wealthy type of thing, as interesting as that might sound for someone who's not in that position. And then I was at tech companies, and it's the 21st century, computer engineer, master's in business, one of the best engineering colleges in the world. So I was very sought after. First century needs engineers. So engineers do very well. And then I just found personal development. I found self-improvement. I found personal growth, and I just went all in. Stephen Covey, Tony Robbins, all the right, TED Talks, everything. And I just worked harder on myself than anything else. Fitness model, fitness competitor, fitness coach, started a podcast, all kinds of different stuff, speaking at colleges and high schools, inspiration, motivation, education. And it was post-car accident. There was a lot of challenges I had. Getting back in a car was hard. Double yellow lines scared me because I crossed the double yellow. It was my fault, the car accident. I was claustrophobic. I had a little bit of PTSD from the car accident. Head-on collision. It was not pretty. And I was physically okay, no permanent damage. No one died, fortunately. But I was definitely rattled. Physically, we were good, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I just shifted everything. So inside me, something shifted for good, and I knew I would never not listen to the whispers again. And I always say, your highest self is trying to talk to you. And if you're distracted all the time, and or you haven't healed inside, you're not going to hear the whisper, right? But I never stopped listening to the whispers since 10 years ago. I really do allow my highest self, whatever you want to believe in, to speak into my life now. And it knows the high road. There's a book called High Road Leadership by John Maxwell. And I actually, believe it or not, I actually think the book is garbage, to be honest. But the title is amazing. High road leadership. I like John. I do. He's a strong author, but that book was not good. High road. Maybe I was just so pumped because I love the title, but high road leadership, in my opinion, that's really what happened 10 years ago is I started taking the high road. I started realizing that virtue is the answer, even if no one else knows it. And I got to work harder on me than anyone else. And hopefully success will be a byproduct. And trust me, it took a while because I went past broke. I liquidated all my assets, didn't do super well in business. It took me a long time to figure it out. And here we are now, and we're doing well. And it's a mountain that gets higher as you climb it. But I do think working harder on yourself, that's what changed. I work harder on me than I do anything else. And my beautiful girlfriend and future wife, I'm certain if I didn't change my focus and work harder on me, there's no way she would be with me. There's just no way. And so I'm the greatest gift of my life is her. And I definitely, I always joke with her. I'm 36, she's 30. And when we met, I was 30 and she was 25, just turning 25. And I always joke, you're 30 right now. You would never date the 30-year-old version of me.
Yeah, I said it to my wife. She's 9 years younger than I am. We got married when I was 34.
Yep.
So that I'm like, the 20s, I'm like, me and kids in my 20s would be I would have created 6 burdens for society. Okay. Just terrible. Now it's just, I didn't start those 39 with the kids. So that worked out well.
Nice.
But yeah, I totally get where you're at. It's really, I'm the same thing. And kind of with my wife's like, she married me because, I've gotten a lot better. So I didn't get better. Then she married me. She kind of came in at kind of the midway point, but then I've gotten better. I still have work to do, but all marriages work. Just for a little heads up for you on the future road. As soon as you get married, just remember it's always work.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. It's never, there's no, just like business, there's no maintenance.
Yeah. There's no coasting.
It's all work, and it's good. It's good work.
Yeah. Anything of value requires work. Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just really great. I'm really enjoying the conversation here because I don't think enough people, you get the stories and people go through this and that, and it's just been interesting to watch you go from adversity from a very young age, right? Take it through, you get a little success, a little taste of success in there, right? Then that goes away. Okay. And I will say with my own that we grew up, with no money, the whole thing, and then did a little better, went to the Marine Corps, got out again, was working hard. But then I reached a point where now I'm around the biggest money in the city of Chicago, and I'm a member of this place and did that. Then I lost everything, right? So I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish what you went through on anyone or what I had to go through, but we are who we are because of it.
100%.
Right. And you can go, there's 2 directions. You can go off the cliff and stay at the bottom, and say, woe is me, and had the big pity party, or you can see the change necessary, see the opportunities, begin to grab those and go, right, and make those work for you, and it really is it's a personal choice, like anything for me, because people ask me all the time, well, how do you do that? I go, I don't know how I do it. I do. You have to go forward. I don't know another way,
One of the things that's very clear, this is only because I just crossed my 10,000 hours of coaching, training, and podcasting. I'm reluctant to share that sometimes because a lot of people think the 10,000 hour rule is weird. The reason I say it is because I've been people all over the world, and I'm talking deep coaching. Dreams, goals, priorities, metrics, habits, skills, and then identity work. Because once you have these in line, for anyone out there listening, once you have your dreams, goals, priorities, metrics, and habits and skills in alignment, you realize you're not doing it. You're not doing them. And then it's the deep work you got to do in here. Otherwise, you'll just run the same pattern, the same hamster wheel. But the reason I share that is it's very clear to me that you had very high, what's known as self-efficacy. I've been coaching people all over the world for 10 years, mentoring for 10, coaching for 8, which means I started getting paid. And there's some people, self-efficacy is something anyone can look up. It means self-belief. You had very high unconscious self-efficacy. So, because people would always say, how did you go through all that adversity? And your response to that was to aim higher, work harder, and get smarter. That is not a normal response, it turns out. For you, you always found a way because you had a lot of high self-belief. You're like, I can figure this out. I can do this. Unfortunately, so there's 2 records playing, 2 main records. Again, I don't want to oversimplify for any of the clinicians out there, but the main record that is playing in my business partner's head unconsciously is you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. It's not going to work for you. And so when him and I teamed up 8 years ago, we would do this every now and then. And he'd say, dude, what do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what do you mean? I found out everything is filtered through your own level of self-belief. So I never questioned whether or not we would succeed. I don't question whether or not we can succeed in podcasting. He'd ask me, well, how did you know we'd be successful? I said, you can't add that much value to that many people for that long without being successful. And he's like, Alan, that doesn't make any sense. For people who don't believe in themselves, I sound very arrogant and or delusional, basically. And you do too. Less now than probably in the past, right? Yeah, sorry. But at the end of the day, the record we have playing in our unconscious is you got this. You can do it. You got this. It's all going to work. You just work hard. You got this. So people hear the way I talk to myself and they're like, wow, you're really hard on yourself. It's like, listen, I got to balance out this record. This overly optimistic, it's all going to work out record that I've got playing in the back of my head. I need to say, listen, you don't got this. Let's go. Train harder, work harder, get it done. And so I realized through coaching that some people, tough love works really well on. That's me for sure. because I have really high self-belief. Challenge me all day. I will prove you wrong. 24/7. See, same deal. The last thing we need is, oh, it's going to be okay. You can do it. Like, listen, shut up.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I need you. Like, come on, challenge me. I got this. Other people really need support. They need emotional support and empathy. And so through coaching, I always joke, I say a peewee football coach should not be screaming at the players to get their ass together. But if in the NFL, you're going to have to do that. And because it's higher standards and that kind of thing, I work much better with NFL players in this metaphor than I do with kids who don't believe in themselves, because I'm just suck it up buttercup kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm a negative reinforcement person. Love negative reinforcement. Talk smack, call me names. Like Marine Corps is really good at negative reinforcement.
Same.
That's where the few and the proud. Okay,
yeah.
Not many people can do that.
Yeah.
Quick. So when my kids were little, I'm like, well, I'm putting a sandbox out in the back, and it ain't for playing. I'm going to thrash the kids when they do stuff wrong. They're going to be doing burpees and push-ups and making it rain, throwing that. And my wife just goes, yeah, you're not doing that. I go, what? But, and then I realized my minor epiphany. Well, she might be right. If I do that, they're going to hate fitness.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good. They're going to equate it to pain and punishment.
Yeah. You're trying to manufacture grit.
So I did not build a sandbox at all. Okay. For play, or I didn't want to be tempted. So no, we didn't have any sandboxes. But no, you're absolutely right. I think that I'm that way. If you see me hitting the heavy bag, like some boxer, right? I'm working that, I rock that thing hard. And if you listen, because you'll hear me hitting the bag and the things I even talk to myself, I'm telling myself to work harder.
Yeah.
Telling myself to finish. There's 30 seconds, you got to finish. So you hear me out loud, same thing, or I'll, there's big windows and I'm there early when it starts so you can see your reflection. And I'm like, let's go, Tubby.
Nice.
Okay. Like I talk to myself that way. I'm like, you just got to work. And I leave it all there, So
I love
it's just,
man.
Again, it's that mindset that people on the treadmills, they're walking and doing their thing. And I'm 8-9 rounds, 3-minute rounds. Like every punch as hard as I can throw it. I'm throwing 200 plus a round. And I'm just like, this guy's a lunatic.
Yeah. 100%. Same. Okay. And the truth of the matter is there's my business partner and I, we researched because we figured out that I'm apparently really intimidating. Not to you. I noticed that. I sized this up the moment I got on the call. I was like, okay, we're going to be fine. But we looked up the top 30 intimidation factors. The 30 reasons you're intimidating everyone around you. These might as well have been leadership qualities. I looked them up, ChatGPT, deep research function, boom, boom, boom. I had Emilia and my business partner rate me from 0 to 10 on each of these. High standards for self, direct communication style, high self-belief, direct eye contact, things like that. I'm also 6'2", so I'm a larger guy, right? And
me too.
Yeah, exactly. So, because Kev was like, dude, you're scaring everyone away. I'm like, what do you mean? People aren't ready for that kind of feedback, man. Well, they said they wanted to be a billionaire. He's like, they don't really want to be a billionaire. They're just talking, man. Gotcha. So I got a 9.5 out of 10 on the intimidation factors. And I went to Kevin. I said, I appreciate it. I needed to hear this. I got to channel me. I get it. I can be too much. He says, you check too many boxes, man. And I said, dude, I'm trying to dial these up. I'm looking at these. I'm working on these.
Right.
I'm working on being more direct, more conscientious, more intelligent, think harder, work harder. I said, I don't make my workouts easier. I'm not going in there. We were out in the pouring rain this morning, my girlfriend and I, with our little dog, and I love my little dog. He's a Chihuahua Pomeranian. He's so cute. I said to Emilia, she's like, he's cold. I said, he needs to exercise, and he's our little Spartan, and he's got this. And he felt so good about himself afterwards and all that stuff. But I got to say something. We're getting a little soft. In my country in particular, the U.S., like, come on, what's going on here? I know you got to feel that way. Listen, people are driving to the mailbox. Walk. Like, yeah, we're in trouble. We're in some trouble.
I have these conversations. We talk about doing a hard thing. I'd say, listen, in Wisconsin, where I live, it's 20 below in the winter. You're going to go out and start your car, right? You want to warm it up. Mm-hmm. Totally cool.
Yeah.
Don't get dressed. You're in shorts and a t-shirt and you do that. You can no, walk out there in shorts and a t-shirt, bare feet.
Nice.
Walk the 50 feet to the car, start it, walk back in. Promise you're not going to die.
Yeah.
I promise you're not going to get frostbite.
I know.
Okay. But what you're going to do is you're going to go, you're going to be alive.
Damn right.
You're going to go, this is it, then maybe increase that, maybe park the car further away.
Nice.
So you're going to walk further. But I mean, it's a mindset that we have.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that
you
we
get that from
understand
the
these
Marines?
things.
Did you get that from the Marines?
No, I think I was nutty before then.
Yeah.
I think they just enhanced it a
Yeah,
little
they
bit.
just
I
let it
can't
out,
give
they
them
let it out.
I can't give them the full credit for that. I kind of went in a little nutty.
Well, we're two peas.
Because I tried to enlist when I was 13.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, I was already there.
I see you. Well, a lot of people think we're nuts with that. The truth is, if you spend your whole life trying to take the easier road, you're going to have a really hard life.
Yeah.
The easy was never for me. It was hard from the get. My dad died. My stepdad left. Like, we didn't have any money. We went from boats and ski trips to, he took 95% of the income with him. And I got free lunch at school, and I'm shopping at Salvation Army. My mom trades in her BMW for a little Honda Civic. Like, there was no one coming to save me. No generational wealth, no dad, no trust fund. If it was going to be, it's up to me. And I think that that's important. Adversity is important. It's important. Yeah.
Listen, comfort leads to a shortened life expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it that way. I don't know how to put it in a better term. The more comfortable you are, the sooner you're going to die.
Yeah.
And that's
that's statistically true.
I'm telling you. So it's like, and man, dude, I love this. We're going to have to do like a part 2.
I would love to.
Because I know we both got to run.
We do.
And this has been just absolutely outstanding. I got someone waiting. And because you know why? Because we get things done.
You know it.
That's why.
Richard,
So we're going to go take care of our people.
Yeah.
Brother, this has been great. And I appreciate all the time. And for everybody else, we will see you on the next STS podcast.
Talk soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.